only 2 nights away from finishing this absolute work. Hopefully on the 7th night I'll actually do it, and we'll save the 8th night for like fasting and prayer and penitence like it's meant to be for.
Of course.
Fingers crossed. So I'm going to hand over to my racist friend Ollie.
I'm not racist.
You're so racist.
I'm a Jewish friend.
I really wish you wouldn't refer to me as your friend. It's quite unpleasant.
Fine, I have a Jewish lover.
Just read the damn story.
It was hard. Ah,
You brought that on yourself.
it's so cold. It was hard sleeping in a room so close to Edward and not being next to him. I woke early and read in bed until I heard Edward stirring. Taking some tea or...
With his dick.
Quickly I tiptoed into his room and climbed into bed with him. His parents were out all night, why don't you just do that anyway?
I don't know.
I snuggled up against his chest and noticed he was sprouting heavy morning wood.
Okay.
My hand gravitated to it, like my own personal video game joystick. Sexy. He opened his eyes and looked down at me and let out a deep groan. His morning breath hit me like a wave and I flinched, moving my hand away from his huge cock.
Sorry.
He said, covering his mouth.
We should get up. Parents.
We both ran into the bathroom and brushed our teeth, even synchronising when we spat into the sink.
It's not the last time they'll be doing that.
Not because Bella's penis is as large as Edward's.
Probably, yes.
When we reached the kitchen, giggling and tickling one another, Esme looked up from the waffle iron, but didn't say anything about us or the empty bottle of wine that we left. Oh, a whole bottle of wine.
Oh, I hope the wine was kosher wine.
Instead, she shoved 2 plates filled with waffles in front of us, along with 2 tall glasses of orange juice, and proceeded to tell us about her evening. Jen explained since it was Christmas Eve, we would once again be left to our own devices tonight.
These parents are shit.
I don't know, they're sort of getting a... They're wingmanning.
Alright, but they're fairly negligent.
They are 1920.
Yeah, but, you know, this is... You assume they've lived long enough to, you know, pick up some shit now.
Yeah, precisely, they're wingmanning.
Or just terrible parents. Whatever, keep reading.
She suggested that since we are both over 18, we should check out the Matzo Ball at the Jewish Community Centre up in Port Angeles. It was the annual Jewish singles dance held every year.
My god, that's bad for the social calendar.
Edward and I exchanged looks. Was she serious? Is this what we had to look forward to in a post-youth group life? Matzo balls as an opportunity to meet people? Then, like a cartoon...
You forgot the bit in the middle.
Oh yeah. Ollie. Then, like a cartoon, Edward perked up. What cartoons is she watching? Actually, I've seen this cartoon.
Oh, you're horrible. You're horrible. You're worse than this fanfic.
Mom, since you and...
yeah. Mom, since you and Dad are both going to be at the hospital tonight and tomorrow, if Bella and I go schlepping up to Port Angeles tonight, we'll just have to drive back up there tomorrow to go to the movies on Christmas. Don't you think it's a little mashugana? Not to mention all that driving while tired isn't safe. It's also a waste of gas and bad for the environment.
Edward, what are you getting at? She looked up at him and glanced at me. She had to know. She knew.
Well, maybe we should see if there are any hotel rooms available. Driving back and forth is such a schlep.
He ran his fingers through his hair. I put my head down, staring into my plate. That's a great idea, Edward. Port Angeles is such a schlep, Carlyle cried.
Getting his first and last line in his fanfiction.
Oh no, that's you. That's your line.
That's a great idea, Edward. Port Angeles is such a schlep.
Ah, the great Scottish Jew population.
Scottish Jew population of the Pacific Northwest. May they rest in peace.
Walking into the room and dressed in a button-down shirt, slacks, and a sweater vest.
I wouldn't want you on the roads tonight, driving late, only to have to go up to the movies tomorrow. It's not like we're going to be home.
He shrugged and looked at Esme.
Edward, go check to see if there are any available hotel rooms.
Edward jumped up and left, leaving me there, still trying to be invisible. Awkward!
Esme, I said rooms.
She shot him another look.
What? Like we weren't ever young.
I was in shock that the Cullimans seemed so accepting of Edward's idea. I deduced that guys' dads were all about getting their sons laid, but still, I was in their care. Not that I was complaining. Let's see how. Oh, 5. Edward came back into the kitchen. He played it very cool. The only place available with space was the hotel a mile outside of town that offered cabins on the water. Isn't that like the whole point of avoiding driving? So they still have to drive to a place a mile out of town.
Yeah, and these boats don't sound very safe at all.
Edward, being Edward, had called and negotiated a rate so low, Esme and Carlisle would have taken it just to frame the bill.
They don't do themselves any favours with this, do they? Such bollocks.
Racist.
You're the racist one, keep reading.
Even I think it's racist.
Your opinion doesn't count, keep reading.
The rest of the day seemed to fly by, despite Edward's insistence on watching some special on tea parties that Fox News was airing.
That sounds good collaboration.
Esme and Carlisle left to go to the hospital, and we left shortly thereafter. We shared a duffel bag, and I couldn't help but notice that Edward had placed a Costco-sized box of condoms in the bag. Why, when apparently he can only ejaculate once a night? Ribbed. For her pleasure. Why, thank you. I realised we were going to miss not lighting the candles tonight, so Edward unplugged the electric menorah and put it in the bag too.
Wow.
An hour later, we checked into our cabin. Edward placed the bag on a large king-size bed. He told his parents it was 2 full-size beds. Unzipping the bag, Edward pulled out the menorah and placed it on the nightstand, and then reached back in and pulled out the chemise he bought me.
Well, I'd love to see you in this again.
Grinned, holding it up. Edward, honey, I'm hungry. Aren't we going for dinner? Aren't we going for dinner on the matzo ball? I asked, licking my lips. I really was hungry.
Food, yes. Matzo ball, no. So if we do the traditional Christmas dinner of Chinese food tomorrow night, then that leaves either Korean, Japanese, or Thai.
Tough choice. Hibachi could be fun, but I do love pad thai.
That just sounds like product placement.
I thought about it. Hibachi seemed much more date-like. Hibachi could be fun. Do you eat shrimp, Edward? Shrimp and other shellfish aren't kosher, and neither is pork.
Good God. Yeah, only when I eat out. Hey! Never in the house. You?
Me too. I love shrimp. I really do. I freshened up and we headed out for an early dinner. The hibachi restaurant put on a good show, and the place was pretty busy for being Christmas Eve. It's almost like it's a holiday or something that people are celebrating on. As we sat next to one another, throughout dinner our hands kept wandering each other's legs. Edward floored it back to the little cabin.
Not paying the bill.
Yes. No, I'm not going to say it. This is just doing it for me already. He opened the door for me and our lips took over. We stepped inside the cabin, kissing, when I saw the menorah. Edward! We forgot to light the menorah! I cried.
Cock block, he yelled, and smashed the menorah on the floor.
He went over, plugged it in, and we said the prayers and screwed in another bowl. When we were done, the mood cooled a bit. No shit.
Yeah.
I picked up the chemise and went to the bathroom to change. Why?
I don't know.
I stayed in there for several minutes to make Edward wait a little bit, and also to give myself some prep time. I took off all my clothes and pulled on the chemise. I opened the door and leaned against the door frame. Wait, so to give herself some prep time, she changed.
Yes. Go with it.
Edward had turned off all the lights with only the menorah glowing. Ah, good old menorah light sex.
That's horrifying.